Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Steelers announce coaching staff decision. Even as Pittsburgh Steelers coach Mike Tomlin's future continues to be called into question by disgruntled fans, the team is keeping not just Tomlin, but some of his staff. The Steelers have been adamant about retaining Tomlin, even as some fans demand a trade of Tomlin out of town. And now, one of Tomlin's assistants will be staying too. Art Rooney too did indicate changes would be coming to the staff this offseason, but nothing major has surfaced yet. As a matter of fact, one of the position groups that was under fire last season will be keeping its position coach. Offensive line coach Pat Meyer will remain on Tomlin's staff for at least another year. Reports surfaced on Tuesday that Meyer will remain for a fourth season under Tomlin. Meyer came under fire by the Athletic's Mike DeFabua for his position group's lack of development last season. Here's how I look at it: the Steelers knew Jones was raw when they drafted him, considering he made just 22 starts at Georgia, DeFabua wrote. But by picking Jones 14th, they were trusting offensive line coach Pat Meyer to take a player with tremendous physical gifts and help him reach his potential. It hasn't happened yet. It didn't help that Jones spent the 2024 preseason uncertain as to whether he would play on the right side or the left. In 2022, the Pittsburgh Steelers made Kenny Pickett the first quarterback off the draft board, asking him to fill legendary passer Ben Roethlisberger's shoes. 3 seasons later, he's a Super Bowl champion. Pittsburgh would have preferred Pickett to win under different circumstances, however. The Steelers' season ended in the wild card round at the hands of the Baltimore Ravens. The Philadelphia Eagles, who traded for Pickett in the offseason, took down the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday in the Super Bowl. For Pittsburgh's most recent attempt at a franchise quarterback, little went as planned. In 2 seasons in Western Pennsylvania, Pickett went 14-10, throwing 13 touchdowns to as many interceptions and averaging 6.3 yards per attempt. Notably, Mason Rudolph started over him in the 2023 wild-card round rout against the Buffalo Bills. In the greener pastures of Lincoln Financial Field, Pickett took on a new role, one that landed him a championship. Yet, most fans were happy to see the passer they rooted for get his moment under the New Orleans lights. In the 40-22 blowout, Pickett played during run-out-the-clock time. Pickens, not Super Bowl MVP Jalen Hurts, took the final kneel down and kicked off the confetti. It may have ended poorly, with Pickett encouraging a trade out of Pittsburgh after changes to the quarterback room. But Pickett had largely played the part of a franchise quarterback well, even if the results didn't follow, and had to deal with the immense pressure of replacing the irreplaceable. In the end, Pickett had an opportunity to play for his hometown team and help it secure a championship. In return, the Steelers received the 98th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, which they turned into linebacker Peyton Wilson, and 2 seventh-round picks this year. That's a trade Pittsburgh will take every time, especially with Wilson's promising play down the stretch. Pickett was joined by former Steelers Fred Johnson, LeRaven Clark and Braden Mann as champions of the football world. Evidently, the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't the only NFL team in the city with a large following. On Sunday night, the Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs squared off in Super Bowl 59 down at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. The Chiefs were looking to defend their title and become the first team in league history to win the big game 3 times in a row, while the Eagles looked to avenge their loss to them 2 years prior in Super Bowl 57. What ensued was one of the most one-sided and stifling performances in Super Bowl history, as Philadelphia routed Kansas City by a score of 40-22. That score doesn't tell the entire story either, as the Chiefs put up 16 points in the final 3 minutes with the game well out of reach. Students at the University of Pittsburgh took to the streets to celebrate the Eagles' victory, creating quite the scene in the city's Oakland neighborhood. Pitt has plenty of students hailing from eastern Pennsylvania, southern New Jersey and the greater Philadelphia area, so it comes as no surprise that the Eagles have cultivated such a strong fan base at the school. A large piece of the puzzle is the fact that former Pitt quarterback Kenny Pickett is now on the Eagles and won his first ring, perhaps providing an extra incentive for fans to celebrate. Pickett drew a similar bash when he led the school to its first-ever ACC championship back in 2021 during his final year of eligibility before declaring for the 2022 NFL Draft and being selected by the Steelers in the first round at number 20 overall. Tough. Former Pittsburgh Steelers running back finds new team. Former Pittsburgh Steelers running back Daijun Edwards has found himself a new home. The 2024 undrafted free agent who inked a deal with Pittsburgh out of Georgia is heading to the Canadian Football League. Edwards is heading to the Montreal Alouettes, who announced they have signed Edwards on Monday. He will join the team for the summer, hoping to carve out a niche and eventually find his way back into the NFL. Edwards is a highly sought-after undrafted free agent who was brought in to compete with other running backs, but veterans Jonathan Ward, LaMichael Perrine, and Aaron Shamklin all beat him out, with those three in rotation on and off the practice squad for much of the season. In his 3 preseason games, Edwards carried the ball 7 times for 37 yards while catching 1 pass for 9 yards. During his time at Georgia, his senior season was by far his most productive, posting 881 yards and 13 touchdowns on 164 carries in his last season in Athens. Analyst: Steelers could land Notre Dame QB. With the Pittsburgh Steelers in need of a quarterback for the coming season, it is possible that they look to the draft to address their needs. With the 2025 quarterback class looking quite weak, it is unlikely that they end up selecting a quarterback, but a flyer in a later round could be a possibility. Fox Sports' Colin Cowherd has spoken on the Steelers at length for years, and his newest topic of discussion is possible quarterbacks for the Steelers for next season. Cowherd is now focused on Notre Dame's Riley Leonard, who helped lead the team to an appearance in the college football playoff final, where they would go on to lose to Ohio State. Cowherd had high praise for Leonard, comparing him to a former Buckeye and Steelers quarterback in Justin Fields, who is rumored to be re-signing with the Steelers this offseason. Also, I think, keep your eye on Pittsburgh in the 2nd, 3rd round, Riley Leonard. A little like Justin Fields, Cowherd said. Athletic, big, nice arm, young. I think Pittsburgh's in the market to draft a quarterback. I do not believe that the Steelers would draft a quarterback that early if they go forward with signing a free agent quarterback. In a year with a quarterback class as weak as this one, the Steelers would be taking an inordinate amount of risk on a quarterback with unclear potential. This is quite unlike the Steelers' draft and personnel strategy recently, so it seems too hard to believe they would do so. The Steelers would be better off addressing positions of need in the earlier rounds of the draft, including wide receiver and tight end, and taking a free agent with experience but no flashiness to helm the offense at the quarterback position. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Riley Leonard? Leave your opinion in the comments.